What up, everyone? Pastor Mike here. Hey, thanks for tuning in this week. And I know it's been a little bit since you've seen me online, but we are back in business. So for the next couple of weeks, we're going to talk about a guy who we are all familiar with, especially if you grew up in church or if you've been around church for a while. And that man is David. And we all know that David defeats Goliath, and we'll get to that, I promise. But for the next couple weeks, we're going to talk about some things that led to this big moment. This is what we're going to talk about this week in our series called King David. This week, we're talking about small steps. All right? Because sometimes in life, what triggers the big reaction that God will do for you is the small step. But before we get to that, have you ever been in this "are we there yet" moment? All right? Maybe you hate long car rides, or you're in that car ride on vacation and you have found yourself saying, "Hey, mom, dad, are we there yet? Are we there yet? I feel like I've been on this journey forever. Are we there yet?" And more times than not, you've heard no more than you've heard yes in that "are we there yet" moment. Especially me. I've asked that question time and time again. Especially like driving a church van, people ask if we're going to an event, are we there yet? We've been that way in the physical before, but are you that way in the spiritual? Have you ever been that way in the spiritual where you've asked God, am I there yet? Like what I'm believing for, what I'm praying for, I know it's coming to pass, but are we even close? I can't see the big picture right now, but are we there yet? God, please say yes. But we see David, all right? David, a young shepherd boy, the youngest of all of his brothers, all right, was anointed to be king, was anointed to say, hey, you're going to be sitting on the throne. You're going to be making all the big decisions. You're going to be the guy in charge. But for right now, you need to go back into the fields with the sheep. You need to go back to being the shepherd boy that you're known as being for this moment. All right, right now, you need to go make sure that those little lambs aren't wandering off on their own, getting themselves into trouble, staying up all night, having the lions and the bears trying to come attack these sheep of yours. But I want to ask you a question, all right? When we get to these places with God, the "are we there yet" moments, isn't that such a discouraging thing at times? Like, God, I'm waiting. Where are you? But we see what it says in Zechariah 4:10, to not despise small beginnings, for the Lord rejoices to see the work begin. Listen, there's a lot of spiritual things that happen whenever we just start, all right? Whenever we have this mindset, okay, hey, I'm just going to go. I know God's calling me to this. I know right now, I may not be ready for this big moment. Right now, David wasn't ready to be king. And we know that later on in the story, something big happens in his life. But right now, I'm not called to be the king. Even though I am called, I'm not ready for it. I'm not ready for this Goliath moment. But what I am called to do right now is to tend the sheep. Don't be discouraged in the moments of waiting on God where God's called you to be. Because in this moment, David was anointed to be king. David was called. He knew the throne was coming. But yet God called him to be a shepherd before he ever called him to be a king. He was a shepherd boy tending the flock before he ever sat on the throne of the kingdom or in the palace. So if you're going through something in your life right now and you're in this moment, you're like, God, are we there yet? I know what you promised. I know what I feel called to do. I know what you have for me, whether it's through school, whether it's through my profession or through the ministry. I know in my heart that you have called me to such things. So when you get to that place in your life where you say, are we there yet, God? The journey feels like it's been forever. Don't be discouraged, because the small steps, the things that seem small to you right now, okay? God is using you in those moments to build you up for that big thing. So be encouraged this week. Be encouraged and know that, hey, God has got you right where you are for a reason, for a purpose. He is surrounding you with people and putting you in situations that He has called you to do. So don't overlook this small beginning. Don't overlook what you feel like is small compared to what the dream may be, because God's going to use you right where you are. I love you guys, and I'll see you next week. Be blessed. See you later.